Tonight, an exclusive interview with Yassine Merzouk and Michelle Runbacon, who created the Society of Curiosities, some interactive games you can play based on movies you know and like. Cinematic class is about to begin. Your professor is in. Greetings, salutations, and other sundry affair. I am your cinematic professor and purveyor of truth in movies. And occasionally movies branch off into different directions and they spur an entire infusion of excitement in other fields. And that is what is behind tonight's interview. Joining me all the way from Hawaii, please help me welcome Yassine Merzouk and Michelle Runbacon. Welcome to the show. You folks are living the dream being in Hawaii. So what I did was I got my best flying Hawaiian jersey out to kind of simpatico here, I guess, in some way, shape, or form. Just to start off, we're talking primarily about something called the Society of Curiosities. And just as an introduction to the viewers, there were some movies back when I was younger, like Clue, which were based upon games. There were two versions of Clue, both of which were successful. There was a movie called Escape Room. I believe Jodie Foster was in that, and that was successful. And most recently, there's been a movie called Knives Out, which had an all-star ensemble cast. And now they're going to make a second movie out of that. And it seems as if these types of movies, the theory behind these types of movies is also behind what we have as the Society of Curiosities, along with a lot of other items as well. Tell us a little bit about the Society of Curiosities.
The Society of Curiosities is a series of solve a mystery games. They're tabletop games that you play at home, and they are adventure games in which you're part of a team and you're directing them to find long lost treasure or artifacts.
Now when you say part of the team, are you talking about interactive online play, or are you talking about you have to have a bunch of people in the room?
Great question. You can play by yourself or with people in the same location, or you can team up on Zoom with your friends if you want. But your team on the ground is not real. It's an artificial intelligence we built, but you can actually talk to them in plain English. So it's not like a computer game. You can text them on your phone or use our website if you prefer to have a real keyboard. A lot of people, I'd say 1 in 10, 1 in 5, somewhere in that range, like email us like, was that a real person or was it a robot? And so we're really happy with the AI, and people it makes them feel like they are actively hunting for treasure because they're chatting with someone in quotation marks.
Well, I gotta say that I tried one of these games. I tried an online game, and you like are in a chat room with people, and the people who you're working with actually get in contact with you and say, okay, you should do this or you should go and do that, and so you do interact with those people. And to be honest with you, I just treated it like a chat room. I never sat back and thought this guy isn't here. It was just one of those things that you just played with and did.
And that's exactly how you should play. Just treat it like normal, and the AI will behave perfectly. Like it will know what to do.
Yeah, and part of the fun of these games, they can sometimes be called alternate reality games. So we're mixing fiction and reality. You're playing a game and chatting with these people / the artificial intelligence, but you have to go on real websites and do research, and you find things, and you're like, is that real or is that part of the game? And then you talk to your team and you realize it's part of the game, but it sure feels real.
Now, I don't know if this is part of the Society of Curiosities or if this is an offshoot of it, but there is something called the Fairy Tale Files. Now, is that a separate entity, or is that something that's underneath the society?
That's a great question. So it is an offshoot. They're easier and they're just whimsical and silly. They don't take themselves as seriously as the Society of Curiosities does.
So let
me see if I can help people out here, because I have one of these. I have the Fairy Tale Files. This is the Cinderella Murders. Okay. Yes. Is this showing up right, or is it reversed?
It looks great.
Reversed. And when you open up this envelope, here is all of the items in here to start the game. Okay, this thing says, halt, look no further. Before you investigate, you must journey to, and then there's the website. So you got to go to the website before you find everything. And then, folks, you have these cards that you can play with. I'd imagine that's for notes, and there you got all your kind of things here. But here it is, and I didn't want to break this. This is under seal, okay? Mm-hmm. So you can't really play the game and start technically I could slip this out of here, but technically you're not supposed to start the game and break the seal until you get this thing going and it's underneath. Now, which came first, the Fairy Tale Files or the Society?
The Society came first, the Society of Curiosities. Okay. And it really built on our experience as escape room game designers. That's how we got our start in the game industry, by building physical escape room, and we do the whole set design. So we wanted to take that feeling and send it to people at home. So it came first, and then we realized that we were building an audience of super fans, but the games were a little difficult for casual players or younger players. So we created the Fairy Tale Files, which is, the games are a little bit shorter, a little bit easier, and kids as young as 12 or maybe even 10, if they're accompanied by an adult, can play the game.
Yeah, now this paper that you sent along with the games tells me that the Cinderella Murders, the Fairy Tale Files, is shorter and much easier than the other game that you sent me. The other game that you sent, I would imagine that the Cinderella Murders, I think somewhere in here says takes about an hour.
Correct.
To play, and it's good for kids up to 11, 12 years old. That young can play it. But this bad boy here, this is from the actual Society, and this is a Maddox Lost Treasure. Folks, this also came in a packet. And this is a little bit more complicated. Oh, you get all kinds of goodies in here. You get a little magical sack. You get your sealed envelope that you can't open. You also get a confidential envelope you can't open. And then you get all the stuff to start you off playing. You can play these games with this packet, but if I understand correctly, do you need this to play the game, or can you actually just go online and play it without all this stuff?
Yeah, you need that. You need everything in that packet to play. So we do have the online games, like the one you got to play, yes. And we have 2 of those. They're completely online, but then the others you have to have the tangible items. And then we're actually adding another online game coming up soon, based on the Winchester Mystery House. I'm not sure if you've heard of that place. It's a really cool historic architectural gem with some fun ghost stories attached, but that's coming up in a couple months.
Okay, so we may be getting a little into the supernatural here.
Yes, definitely.
Yassine, I have a question for you, sir. In doing my research, one phrase kept coming up when they described you, and this is in quotes, as the creator of whimsy.
Ooh.
Would you care to explain that?
Yes, so Michelle dreams up a lot of the whimsy and I make it happen. So I'm a software engineer by trade. So all the interactions you have with the game eventually go through the code that I built. Mm-hmm. And I am in charge of writing all the replies or crafting all the replies and then building a little AI magic in there. But everything that's game related, like you send a solution or an idea and the AI has to say something, oh, great idea. We compliment our players a lot. It's like, that's a great idea, but it didn't work, but I see how you got there. Maybe we can build on that. But there's also some sass. If you say something that maybe you missed a couple of things on the build up, the AI might be a little sassy, but not in an insulting way, but just saying like, well, I see how you got there, but that, that would not make a lot of sense. So we have fun with it. And we try to build a foundation and let players play and encourage them to interact with the world rather than having just like a puzzle game where you just try to find numbers and passwords.
Now, I should point out that at no time when I played the game did the computer get sassy with me.
Oh, that means that your brilliance was showing.
Wait. No, but I got to admit, there were a few times I used the hint.
Good, yes, good. They're there to be used.
Yeah, so the game comes with little hints where if you run into a roadblock, you can click on the hint and it can redirect you in the right, which is a nice feature, I thought.
Yeah, unlimited hints. It's all about fun. No one should get stuck if they don't feel like working through a challenge, and the hints are all small, so you can get a nudge or you can get the solution. It's up to you.
Yeah, and one more thing is, even if you are very brilliant, sometimes there are little pockets or holes in the brilliance, or maybe you're not looking at something in a specific way. We purposefully design all our puzzles to kind of hit on different skills of different players. So we don't do a game that's all wordplay or we don't do math, but say it was a math game, we had numbers only. So we're very purposeful in putting puzzles in that can appeal to a different range of players. So that's why the hints are there. And that's why sometimes it's fun to play with a couple different people for different perspectives while solving.
Now, according to, again, when I was looking some stuff up, and you got to take this stuff with a grain of salt because you don't know where the sources are, but they claim that the two of you met in Montreal while playing in an escape room, and that not only spurred the, I guess, the romance, if you will, but it also spurred you into this business. Is that accurate? Should we expound on that at all? Or
it's half accurate.
Yeah, that sounds like two stories mixed in. So we actually met in the Bahamas. We were both working there in our younger days at a resort. And we actually started this whole game design life by playing an escape room in Montreal together.
And that's where we fell in love, not with each other. We already did that, but with escape rooms.
Yes.
So the first game we played, we had no clue what to expect. We only played because a friend recommended it to us. And then after we played, we immediately booked the next game. It was love at first play. So that's where the love comes in.
Yes. And then we spent a year building games for friends. So we built a witch's den on our property, and then we built a serial killer's lair
in our house,
just for friends and family and just having fun. And then we, about a year later, we ran the numbers and decided to go commercial.
Okay. You guys, when you're all over the internet, and your background is really, really diverse, I guess would be the best way to say it. What is Triptee?
Oh, wow. You really did your research.
And is that still around, or have you kind of thrown that aside too?
So Triptee is a travel software company. We launched that around 2015. We got some seed funding from the startup world. And it's still around. We paused it because it's expensive to run a software company. We paused it during the pandemic, but it might make a reappearance soon. It's to help people enjoy the planning of trips. It's so stressful and overwhelming to plan a trip, especially to a place you haven't been before. But there's also studies that show that anticipation of a trip and planning of a trip can be the most enjoyable part of travel. So that was kind of the premise behind the software that we built.
Yeah. So, I mean, just a little bit about it. It's basically Google Maps meets something like Pinterest. So it's a very visual mapping of your ideas. So anything you want to do in an area, you put it in and it pops up on the map. So you can see where all your ideas are to help you better plan your day. And for us in Hawaii, on Kauai, people will drive back and forth on the island, zooming about and just sitting in traffic or wasting their time because they don't know how to best group items. So this helps with that. And it also helps you just kind of visualize and remember things. And then before the pandemic, we were working with a few concierge on island as a digital delivery of suggestions from concierge. So it was before in the past, it was a paper map that they would scribble on and highlight and you get it. And then you'd be like, I don't know how to use this. It makes no sense. So we had developed a product that had all the suggestions from concierges, anything the client had booked delivered directly to your phone, which linked to a website, which had one-click directions, descriptions, suggestions, everything in one place.
Nice. Now, if I read the how this thing worked, wasn't there also an interactive premise to it, so that say I wanted to go to XYZ, I could immediately get feedback from people who had been there, and they could tell me this is good, this is bad, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we dabbled with that idea. We found that people were interested in getting suggestions, but suggestions are taken best when they come from someone you know or an established expert.
Okay.
So that was a challenge of getting a big enough staff to have experts everywhere seemed unfeasible. So I think right now recommendations it was not part of the platform.
Yeah, we did have it where you could share your trip. So say you went to New Orleans and you just had some amazing experiences that you wanted to share with friends who are going. You could take that trip that you had created and you could share it with friends and amend notes and stuff for them to follow along.
I see. Now, is there anything in dealing with Tripity that helped you set up the society?
Oh, yes. Yeah. So Tripity was an extremely difficult software to build. Traveling is so complex because there's an infinite amount of possibilities. Everybody travels differently. Everybody goes to different places in the world. Some people travel by plane, bus, train, boat, car. It was extremely challenging. We made multiple versions. Some of them, so there was the first version was online. We did version 2 and 3, which did not pan out. Version 4 was an improvement and went online. So we learned a lot. And when it came time to build an AI for Society of Curiosities, a lot of the challenges of running very complex software at scale had been tackled and solved.
Yeah. And one other thing is, so we were part of Blue Startups, which is a startup accelerator in Hawaii, and they're amazing. And one of our cohort members has a company called, is it Beachly? Beachly. And it was a subscription box company for beach lifestyle. And he had worked in the subscription world for a bit. And before we were even thinking about Society, he had told us about a couple other products in the market, kind of like what we're doing. And he put the bug in our ear to think about a subscription model. So just connections we made in the startup incubator, as well as thinking about business like scale and how do you grow your business? How do you handle all the complex interactions as you reach beyond a local market? Those are huge things that we learned through the startup incubator we were part of.
This other question may be a bit off the wall, Michelle, but I'm going to run it by you anyway. You seem to have a fascination with wax seal. What's going on with that?
You have done your research. Yes. So it's actually a new fascination because of the society. I had to do a lot of research on wax seals. And then I started a collection of Victorian seals. So, from the 1800s, they have these just amazing culture of wax seals that they use. So I have a nice collection that I've accumulated, and I actually get to use them. So it encourages me to send more snail mail out and to actually use the seals because although they're collectibles, they're meant to be used. They're not going to get damaged in the use, which is super fun. Well, I have to show you my wax seal real quick.
Yes, please do.
You can see that this is one.
Yes.
And what's really cool about it is that it opens up.
Oh,
and there's all these are all miniature seals inside. And you put them in here, and they're two-sided seals. I don't know if you can see it. So they actually are little seals that go right on the top here. That's my most expensive one. Then you have other cool ones like this that have seals all along the edges.
So now, each of those is different?
Every single one is different, and they're neat. Like one is while I live, I'll crow. And there's another one that has like a shipwreck that says such is life. One that has a dog that says faithful. Just all types of really neat little seals that just tell a story in one little bit. Kind of fun.
And that one, the first one, when it opened up, each one of those little things was an individual seal.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So they go right here into the tip.
Yeah.
And they're secured on the top, so you can use it. So it's basically 20 different seals in one kit.
Wow. Now, are these new things, or are you finding these like in antique shops?
I'm finding it on eBay because Hawaii doesn't really have old antiques because we just don't have that history. So I have alerts set on eBay just to look at the seals. I've kind of slowed down a little bit because I have a lot. I don't need many more, so I'm just looking for any ones that I have to have. But I'm kind of set right now. Once I bought this one, I felt pretty good.
Okay, last time I'll put you on the spot here.
I have to say, I almost want to grab them.
One of the sources said that I guess back in your earlier days, you actually founded a burlesque troupe.
So it wasn't.
Oh, wait, are we talking burlesque comedy, or are we talking,
Yeah. So
can-can?
we live on Kauai.
Okay.
And everyone knows everyone on Kauai. So we were more like cirque burlesque, not just burlesque, because like people just taking their clothes off on Kauai is not going to fly.
Okay.
Because I was a teacher too. So it was more circus arts. And then we had a couple performers who did burlesque numbers, but not only burlesque. Because it's Kauai, we really have to kind of temper what we do because of the island. But I did aerial arts, aerial silk, all types of aerial arts. So that's why we put together this. It was called
Fly by Night.
Fly by Night Cabaret is what it was called. Yeah, it was very fun. Nice.
Now, you've already said that you're going to take the Society of Curiosities and you're going to maybe dabble a little bit in the supernatural and the horror. What else can we expect? What else is on the future horizon here for the people who want to get involved in the society?
Oh man, there's a lot. There's season 2 coming up, and we're time traveling.
Yeah, that's a scoop.
Yeah, that's an inside scoop. There's going to be time travel, which is fun because we can tackle about any theme that we want to, which is great. The Winchester Mystery House is coming up. So those will be online games. So they'll be really affordable games, as well as games that you could play with people abroad. So if your family and friends aren't in one location, you can play together separate. And it's going to be a really fun game because the house has an incredible history that we get to play upon and then elaborate further. And then we have 2 more Fairy Tale Files games coming up.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And we are toying with the idea of releasing a game that we've
that's
designed.
right.
We've designed as part of a hobby project with other people, but it's called Cats of Mystery. It's a game you play with your cat. Like the cat is involved if it wants to collaborate. There's a bypass if the cat is nowhere to be found because cats are gonna cat.
Yeah,
But
no, this is kind of scary because when we first started talking, you had a cat flying around down there at
Yeah.
the bottom of the screen. So,
Yes.
yeah.
It was a secret Santa project. So there's an amazing group of puzzling people. And so we talk about games that we love. And they have fun things like pen pals that send puzzles to each other, and the Secret Santa project where you design a game for someone. So we made this game because we know this person liked cats. And it's whimsical, it's crazy, it involves catnip, like and a crazy scientist who's making crazy catnip to get I don't know.
Talking animals.
Talking animals. It's off, it's just a little crazy, but it's a lot of fun.
yeah, that sounds like it. Now, I would imagine with movies like The Knives Out and then its sequel coming out, that this is, I think, really going to spur more interest in things like the Society of Curiosities, because the tie-in there is really self-evident. What is the best way if somebody is interested? And again, we should point out that you can play this multiple player or you can play it solo, like I did. What is the best way for people to, get involved and start getting information on the games and things like that?
The best thing to do is to go to societyofcuriosities.com. If you just want to dip your toes and see if you like the game, we have two digital games that are $12 or $15, very affordable, and you can play a 1 hour, 90-minute games to see our style. And we think and hope you will enjoy it.
And also, we're on social media. So, Facebook, Instagram under Society of Curiosities. So, if you want to just kind of follow along, we'll post pictures of our products, we'll post pictures of behind the scenes. So, you can see kind of part of the process that we go through involving our drawings that are really bad and then our illustrators' drawings that are much better. So, it's kind of fun to see the process.
Well, listen, I want to thank both of you for stopping by today, Yassine and Michelle. This thing was an awful lot of fun when I played it, and I'm still going to try to talk, if nothing else, the Cinderella murders, because then I can tell them, look, it's only an hour, okay? And try to get this thing done. I think that what you're doing is an awful lot of fun. You guys certainly have a very diverse background that will that have all joined together to make this thing possible. And I think it's an awful lot of fun, especially because now that we're coming out of the pandemic, people are used to staying in their homes, but they want to do something, and this will be able to engage them in ways that they can still stay at home, but they can still have a little bit of fun with it. It's called the Society of Curiosities. The games are, I dare say, a bit challenging, and if you enjoy things like Clue and you enjoy things like Knives Out, I think you'll enjoy this an awful lot. Thanks again for stopping by. In Hawaii, wish I was there. I'd like to thank Yassine Merzouk and Michelle Runbacon for stopping by our cameras today and speaking with us. Yassine is the co-founder and puzzle designer for the Society of Curiosities, and Michelle is the co-founder and the creative director of the Society. Their games are an awful lot of fun, and they'll tease your brain and give you a good solid evening of entertainment. You can check them out at societyofcuriosities.com or look up Society of Curiosities on Facebook. And thanks again for them stopping by. And now that you have learned what you have learned, here endeth your lesson.